You should have the bridge phone and hear us. Hello?
Yeah, hi, this is Jay Korzydowski.
Okay, great. Thank you. You're set. Thank you.
Good evening. This is the Zoning Board of Examiners and Appeals, July 8th, 2021 meeting. It is 6:30 p.m. A little after. May we have a roll call?
Ellen McKay?
Here.
Tanya Hickok? Here. Dave Hale?
Here.
Monica Emerton? Here. Jonathan Lang?
Here.
Dale Smythe?
Here.
Skylar Quinn?
Here.
Jackie Sabina and Andrew Romerdahl are excused. Thank you. You have a quorum.
For the record, Chair Hickox has requested to step down as chair, and I have assumed the chair's position. Board Member McKay is now the vice chair. First on the agenda are the minutes. May we have a motion to approve the minutes of May 13th, 2021? Motion to approve by Member McKay, seconded by Mr. Hale. Are there any corrections to be made to the minutes? Are there any objections to the minutes being approved? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Next is special order of business. Does anyone have any disclosures?
Commissioner Emish and I request to speak.
Ms. Emerton?
Thank you. I was absent from the meeting for case 2021-0043 and 2021-0047, so I need to abstain from that.
Thank you. Are there any other disclosures? Ms. Hickok?
Yes, I was also absent at that last meeting, and so I will recuse myself or be excused from the consent agenda voting.
Thank you. Are there any other disclosures? I would like to disclose that I have a work product in the case before us tonight, 2021-070, and I will be recusing myself from that case. I need a motion, a positive motion for me to participate. Moved by Member McKay, seconded by Member Emerton. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Since you have a work product in the case, I am not going to support my motion.
Thank you. Ms. Emerton?
Yes, the same as Commissioner McKay.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak on the motion? Then we will vote. The motion fails. I am recused from tonight's case. Next is the consent agenda. May we have a... Oh, pardon me, I skipped ahead. May we have a motion to nominate someone for the position of parliamentarian, which has been vacated by Ms. McKay, moving up to vice chair. We're struggling a little with the computer this evening. Can I have a verbal motion to nominate someone for the position of parliamentarian?
I will move that I will be the parliamentarian for this evening. And that's from Commissioner Emerton.
And could I get a second? Board Member Hale seconds. Are there any objections to the motion? Seeing none, the motion is approved, and Board Member Emerton is the parliamentarian. Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. May we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Mr. Smythe and seconded by Mr. Hale. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent agenda for discussion? Seeing none, are there any objections to the motion? Seeing no objections, the consent agenda is approved. And again, I'm recusing myself from the meeting, and I will be turning the meeting over to Vice Chair McKay at this time.
Okay, we're on to the public hearing portion of tonight's agenda, and the case is 2021-0070. Petitioner is Nicholas Krasinski. And as variance hearing, I need to go over how it's going to work. The chair will introduce the variance and explain the procedure to be followed. Okay, the variance case number and the name of the applicant will be read into the record, which I just did. The board shall hear and rule on any objection to the sufficiency of notice. The board shall hear a brief presentation outlining of the variance. On conclusion of the staff presentation, the board members and the applicant may then direct questions to the staff through the chair. The applicant shall give his or her presentation. Throughout the proceedings, the burden of proof rests upon the applicant, who must convince the board by a preponderance of evidence that the variance should be granted. The applicant, including all of his or her representative, has 10 minutes for the presentation and may reserve time for rebuttal at the end of the public hearing. On conclusion of the applicant's presentation, the board members and the staff may then direct questions to the applicant through the chair. The hearing shall then be open for public testimony. Representatives of groups have 5 minutes, individuals have 3 minutes, and the time is kept by the secretary. The display at the front will be green to within 1 minute of the time allowed, then will turn yellow. At this time, you should begin to sum up your testimony, and at the end of the allowed time, the light will turn red and a tone will sound. All persons who testify may be questioned by the board, staff, or the applicant. On the conclusion of the public testimony, the staff, followed by the applicant, shall have the right of rebuttal. The board shall proceed to develop oral findings and conclusions with regard to the variance and disposition of the variance. The staff shall reduce the oral findings and conclusions to writing for subsequent adoption by the board at a later meeting. A concurring vote of a majority of the fully constituted membership of the board, minus those excused for conflicts of interest, shall be required to grant a variance. For the variance to be granted, all 8 standards must be substantially met and have a positive vote of 5 members. The parties then have 30 days from the date of mailing or other distribution of the decision to file an appeal with Superior Court. So with that, will the staff please describe the notice given in this case?
Thank you, Chair McKay. On June 16, 2021, a total of 79 public hearing notices were mailed in accordance with code. The Chugiak Community Council did not provide comments on this case.
Are there any objections to the sufficiency of notice in this case? Seeing none, will the staff please present the case?
This is a request for a dimensional variance from AMC 21.10.060C, Table 21.10-6, Table of Dimensional Standards, Chugiak Eagle River Residential Districts, to allow a proposed single-family home to encroach 25 feet into a required 50-foot rear setback. The applicant was aware of the possible need to seek a variance from the rear setback when the parcel was purchased from the neighbor to the west. The existing parcel was cleared of trees by the previous owner to place the home in a preferred location. Locating the home in this location would provide more spacing between homes and is in line with the intent of the CER R6 zoning of 1 dwelling unit per acre. The petitioner inquired into purchasing the parcel to the north from the municipality of Anchorage to combine 2 parcels into one, thus eliminating the need for a variance. This request to purchase the parcel was denied. In order to approve this variance, the application must substantially meet the following 8 standards. Standard A is partially met. The subject parcel has minor topography running downhill from southwest to northwest. There's a slight increase in topography to the west abutting Lot 17, with the most downward slope in the northwest corner of the parcel. The lot is 66,153 square feet, 22,593 square feet greater than the minimum lot size of the 43,560 square feet, providing ample area for the proposed structure. However, the previous owner removed a large amount of natural vegetation that would have provided a visual buffer in line with the CER6 zoning's desire in protecting and enhancing those physical and environmental features which add to the desirability of rural residential living. AMC 21.10.040.C.10.A. The structure on Lot 17 to the west is also built within the 25-foot required side setback, reducing the separation distance afforded this property. This is visible on your staff packet on pages 9 and 22. It is the red roofed structure that you will see in the pictures. There are no other physical circumstances such as wetlands, streams, and/or unique geometry which affect this lot. Standard B is partially met. The proposed home location would allow the property owner to maintain an appropriate separation from surrounding structures. This standard is enjoyed by the surrounding property owners and complies with the CER6 zoning purpose of protecting and enhancing those physical and environmental features which add to the desirability of rural residential living. AMC 21.10.040.C.10.A. Standard C is partially met. This hardship is not self-imposed. The previous owner removed a large amount of the natural vegetation, trees, along the western portion of this lot, resulting in the existing conditions and proximity of the structure on Lot 17 to the west. The applicant was aware of the possible need to seek a variance from the rear setback when the parcel was purchased from the neighbor to the west. The existing parcel was cleared of trees by the previous owner to place the home in a preferred location. Locating the home in this location would provide more spacing between homes and is in line with the intent of the CER6 zoning of one dwelling unit per acre. Standard D is met. The parcel most affected by the granting of this variance would be Lot 16 to the north. This parcel is currently owned by the MOA. If this lot were ever developed, the buildable area of this parcel has slopes of greater than 50% and should remain undisturbed or undeveloped with considerable restrictions and requirements. Code requires that slopes of greater than 50, anything with 50% or more should not be built upon. Standard E is met. The requested variance will not change the character of the CER6 zoning district in which the petition site is located. The CER6 district is primarily intended for single-family dwellings with gross densities of one dwelling unit per acre. Granting this variance to encroach within the rear setback will not permit either a principal or accessory use other than what is already permitted under Anchorage Municipal Code Title 21. Standard F is met. This does not appear that this encroachment will result in any negative impacts on the health or safety of the people of the municipality. Standard D is met. ADA does not apply to single-family residences. And Standard H is met. There's currently no structure on this parcel. The petitioner is being proactive in their approach in acquiring the necessary variance before construction, providing them with the legal right to proceed with construction. AMC 21.03.240G requires that all 8 standards be substantially met in order for a variance to be granted. The department finds that standards A, B, and C are only partially met, and standards D, E, F, G, and H are met. Therefore, the department must recommend denial of the variance. If after a public hearing the board finds that all 8 standards are substantially met, then the approval should be subject to the conditions on page 5 and 6 of your packet. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff by the board?
Sorry. On your staff packets, page 3 and page 4, the AMC that is in there it should be AMC 21.10.040.C.10, not 11A. That's an A and B.
Mr. Hale?
Thank you, through the chair. I was just looking at condition A, and it says that there's ample area for the proposed structure elsewhere on the lot. It looks like from the as-built that there's a lot of room to move this structure. Do you guys have discussions about why they don't want it in a conforming location, besides just that some of the trees are gone?
Through the chair, yes, Mr. Hale, that was the main reason. It was already existing cleared. Pushing the home further to the east would incur more trees being cut down of the natural vegetation and also eliminate any kind of views from the parcel.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a question. I'm interested in Lot 16 to the north. Why does the MOA own this lot?
Madam Chair, I am not 100% sure why Real Estate Services owns this particular parcel. I did talk to Real Estate Services today in regards to if they had any intentions of selling it in the near future. They do not have any plans of disposing of it at this time. I'm not sure if this was acquired through some tax purposes or not. I did not inquire as to how it was acquired. It's a lone lot that they own in this area. They do own parcels in other places, but this one's kind of an oddity that's just out there.
In looking at the plot plan on page 20, it looks like, as you said, it has a very steep topography, but there is a flat place that's kind of in the corner. I mean, I can't see what else is on the lot. If that's the top of a ridge and the house would be, or a potential house would be built on top of the ridge, or in this flat area, this little flat area in the corner, would definitely need a variance to be put there, but...
So if you're looking at the topography map, if I'm understanding correctly,
On page 20? Yeah.
Yep. So the steep topography to the left or to the west goes uphill to that red roofed structure. That's lot 17. Where they're proposing is one of the flatter areas. There is more flat area to the south. That's where all the trees are that they're trying not to have to cut down to kind of...
I'm talking about lot 16.
Oh, lot 16. So you're only seeing a portion of lot 16 to the north. And there is a small piece that could be developed, I guess you could say there. But that would be yes, they would also have to get a variance to be within that 50-foot rear setback if they were to even be able to get up to that height. The dilemma on that lot is a septic system. With that slope, it'd be really hard to get any kind of a septic system even in that parcel.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions of staff by the applicant?
Not at this time.
Okay, moving on. Will the applicant or the applicant's representative please come forward, state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Nicholas Krasinski, Nicholas. Last name Krysinski.
Can you speak a little louder? We're having trouble hearing you.
Yes, so I will try. So first name is Nicholas, Nicholas. Last name Krasinski, Krysinski.
Thank you. Please present your case.
Okay, I will. So first of all, I appreciate everybody spending their Thursday evening talking about this with us. My wife and I live in Chugiak. I've been in Eagle River, Chugiak most of my life. We live on the Blue here, and we've now got a couple of kids. And I've been looking for a slightly bigger house, and like our house a lot currently, I really want to leave too much, so we did this lot and decided we wanted to build on it. That's most of the background with us. I will share my screen, and in an effort to keep this concise, just read off a bit so you can choose either read or listen. So we agree on the 5 of the 8 requirements that are met. We believe the 3 that are partially met are actually fully met. I'll start with standard A and jump to just describing the pictures and the lot numbers just to make sure everybody can have a feel for that. So this is our lot right here. This is lot 16 to the north, which is on the hill. This is the neighbor's lot is sold to us with the red roof, and this is lot 23 down below. So this is the building pad that we're talking about. The bluff runs right along here. Are you able to see my screen? I'll assume yes, but this is steep. You need hands to walk up this part of the hill. And then this is the cleared pad, and then this is a hill right here. So the argument we have on Lot A being fully met is that the houses on Lot 17 and 18 are both along the east sides of those lots. So this is 17. This house is less than 10 feet from the property line. And then this house over here, there's a garage right here. They're also on the property line. So that's why I think this one is built over, and we're just trying to daisy chain down, basically. The house on Lot 17 is pretty much on the property line, less than 10 feet. The shape of our lot creates a corner where the tip is over the edge of a bluff, and the house on Lot 17 is on a hill right above the north portion of the lot next to the bluff. The slope is described as minor in the staff report, but in person it's extremely steep and hard to climb without your hands. Under current setbacks, we push our home back into the woods behind the house on Lot 17 and close to the house on Lot 23 once the trees are cleared out for the septic. And this is a drastic reduction in spacing for the 2 existing houses there on both 17 and 23, as well as our future house, and works against the goal of CER6 zoning for protecting and enhancing those physical environmental features which add to the desirability of rural residential living. We believe this constitutes an exceptional physical circumstance through a combination of the neighbor's house being built essentially on the lot line and immediately next to the corner the lot also has a bluff that we need to be set back from. So if we were to try to build on that pad where we want to, we don't want to build the house right next to the bluff anyways. We want to be pulled back from that. A building pad is located here and is the obvious location for a house, and is clearly the intent when this pad was cleared over 30 years ago. Moving on to standard B. I will pull that up so we can refresh on that. So because of these physical circumstances, strict application of the code creates an exceptional undue hardship on the property owner and would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under terms of the zoning ordinance. So although standard B is listed as partially met, the evaluation seems to agree the variance would be an improvement to the affected lots and better meet the intention in CER6. If not granted, our house and the red roof house on Lot 17 would be the 2 closest houses in the area. We would not be consistent with the spacing enjoyed by every other house in the area. Because we don't be the only 2 houses with this closest spacing, we believe this standard is fully met. Moving on to C. This hardship is not self-imposed. Special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant, and such conditions and circumstances do not merely constitute an inconvenience. Standard C requires that the hardship is not self-imposed. The evaluation actually states the hardship is not self-imposed right at the beginning there, so it seems that we have some concurrence there. Furthermore, we did all the research ahead of time that we could. This included talking to the Muni and asking if we could buy Lot 16 to the north to combine them. What I've heard about Lot 16 is that it was a tax deferral in the 90s, and they want to keep it for potential access in the future, but have no interest in disposing or developing it because there's no parking up there. So we just want to leave it the way it is. And so and we also talked about this with the community council late November. And now it's more about Lot 16, that agenda topic. After we had a discussion, we asked them, well, if we can't buy Lot 16, would anybody oppose a variance to build a little closer in our lot? And everybody in the meeting agreed they would support it. Until we got a builder involved and additional survey work was done, it was not clear whether or not we would need the variance. Now that we have all that information and the septic design, it's pretty clear that we really need a variance. And I don't know that we would proceed with building if we don't get it, primarily because of what it would do to change that lot. It's a pretty nice lot, and if you couldn't build where it's, kind of obvious where you want to build, it's no longer a real nice, or especially nice lot, I guess, or it's not what it could be. So, yeah, we'd like to make full use of this lot. So, just to, I guess, drive the point home, we believe standard C is fully met because it's not self-imposed. We did everything we could ahead of time. So that concludes what I have to say. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
There was one more point, actually. I'm not sure if you've seen the packet, but we've talked to all the neighbors that we could. So we talked to the owner of the Red Roof House here. He supports it and signed the form that we've submitted with this, saying he supports it. Same with Lot 23, and as well as, I can't remember the lot, this one, but I ran into them while I was up there and visited with them, and they agreed and signed that petition or form and submitted that. Everyone we talked to everyone we could in the area. They all agree it makes sense. We're not trying to get away with something, doing anything crazy, I don't think. Just trying to do what seems reasonable. So, with that, I'll open up any questions anybody has.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of Mr. Kuzinski? Any questions from the board? Okay, seeing none. Are there any questions of the applicant by the staff?
No, Chair McKay.
Okay, then we'll move on to the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak in this case?
Madam Chair, we have an unusual situation. We have a gentleman on the bridge phone that was forwarded the Teams meeting. So instead of public testimony being contacted by us via phone, I would like to ask you if you would allow him this time to speak his public testimony via phone, via the bridge phone, if you guys will allow it. Normally we would call from the phone down there, but he was forwarded the Teams meeting by the petitioner.
Okay, certainly.
Thank you.
So, come forward, state and spell your name for the record, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Jake Horzdovsky. It's J-A-K-E. Last name is H-O-R-A-Z-D-O-V-S-K-Y. And I'm the current president of the Chugach Community Council. However, I am here speaking as just a resident of the community since our board has not taken action on this issue. So I think this application, I've known Nick for approximately 16 years, went to college with him, and then I'm a friend of him currently out here in Chugach. So I'm just talking on behalf of myself and not the community council. In my opinion, Nick has met all the standards within this variance application. Standard A, there's an existing exceptional or extraordinary physical circumstances. The adjacent neighbor who also supports the variance, built right up against the property line. So I've been up there on the site, and I've walked the site, and the houses would be very close together, and that's against the character of our community. So if this variance is granted, he'll be farther away from that house with more buffer, so it'll be more in conformance with the Chugiak vision, where we have large lots with lots of space between houses and trees surrounding us. So I think item A has been met. Item B of the application, because of physical circumstances, strict application of the code creates a exceptional undue hardship. When you're purchasing a lot, there's a lot of things to consider, and it's not always apparent what side of the lot is the back or the side. With this lot, it's pretty tough. It's kind of arbitrary which one is the back or the side, unless you're a surveyor or someone who does this every single day for a living. So I believe that the owner, he did not know that he was going to get hit with a 60-foot or a 50-foot setback when he purchased the lot. So I think it would create a little bit of a hardship for him to not be able to locate his house in the correct place on the building pad. And then item C, the hardship is not self-imposed. We see these applications come through on the community council where people have just built things, and it kind of happens all the time out here in Chugiak. I would argue, that it's not self-imposed because he didn't know when he bought the lot that he was going to be required to build, so far away from that portion of the lot. And the neighbor, built right up against his property line. So I think it would just fit better with the character of the community if this variance was granted and he was allowed to build where he wants to build. Regarding Lot 16, that lot is currently owned by MOA. We took up that lot in the community council in November. MOA was seeking to dispose of it. And the desire of the community council, or the member of the board who wanted to take that up, was to make sure that there's park access through that existing lot. So it's likely that that lot will be left in place, and it'll just be used for community park access via a walking trail. It's extremely steep.
Wait, your time is up. I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any questions of Mr. Horvzdowski by the board? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Are there any questions by the staff?
No, Chair McKay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so is there anyone else to testify?
No, Madam Chair.
Then we'll close. Rebuttal. How much time? 2 minutes. So, Mr. Krasinski, you have 2 minutes of rebuttal time, 2 minutes left in your testimony. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
No, thank you. I think I've said everything I have to. I appreciate everybody's time.
Okay, thank you. So, and the staff, now, close the public hearing, and the matter rests with the board. May I have a positive motion, please? Ms. Emerton, would you state your motion, please?
Yes, I move to approve case 2021-0070 based on conditions 5 and 6 of the staff report.
There's a, you could just, it makes a better motion if you just read what it says.
In
Please.
case 2021-0070, to approve a dimensional variance from AMC 21-10.060C table 21.10-6 table of dimensional standards, Chugiak Eagle River residential districts to allow a proposed structure to encroach 25 feet into a required 50-foot rear setback, subject to conditions 1 and 2 shown on page 5 and 6 of the staff report.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Hale. Ms. Emerton, would you please speak to your motion?
Yes, I do intend to support my motion. I agree with staff's findings for D, E, F, G, and H, and then I would like to speak to A, B, and C. A, I agree with staff on the findings they have. I would argue that this is fully met due to the trees left on the property that would need to be cut down and how close house number 17 would be to the new structure. I also believe condition B is fully met. The physical circumstances of the house number 17 as well, and the house on 23. Also, the loss of view is also part of the character of the community, and I feel that that would also make item B fully met. Item C, I also would find is fully met. Again, I'm going to go back to the trees that will be lost if we move the location of the house locations on 23 and 17, and the topography of the lot for him to move it will restrict views, and none of those things that are within the applicant's control or were a result of the applicant's actions.
Thank you. Mr. Hale?
Thank you through the chair. Yeah, for me, if Lot 16 were to be developed, I would not be able to support this at all, but it looks like an unusable lot, so anything that we do with Lot 22 is not going to adversely affect future owners on that lot. I think that you can say that the topography limits where you can put a structure on the lot with all the trees cut down. That does create a little bit of an undue hardship, and it impacts their ability to use the property in the way that their neighbors, which I think is an important consideration. So yeah, I'm going to support it too.
Anyone else? Okay. I too am going to support the motion. For standard A, I think other mitigating circumstances are the fact that the Chugach State Park is to the east, and its zoning is Chugach Eagle River watershed, and watershed management didn't have any objection to the variance. So with that, please vote. Okay, with 6 yeses, that motion passes and the variance is granted. Okay, so that's the end of the public hearing portion of the agenda, and the next is reports. No report from the chair. He left. Secretary, do you have anything to say?
No, Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay, there's no committee reports. Board members? Anybody? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Mr. Hale, second? By Ms. Hickok. We are adjourned.